schools in this country. I'll give you an example, Honorable Speaker. In the schools in my constituency, especially in the escarpment, because of the very harsh terrain of those particular areas, you find that teachers are rarely posted in those schools, and you'll find even a school having only one TSC teacher against a population of about 300 students. And what parents are left to do is to dig into their pockets and pay BOM teachers to be able to get their learners or their children get education. That is being inequality, because the Kenya government pays for all teachers, and if my school, for example, that has one TSC teacher is being denied access to education and parents have to cough into their pockets, it means it's double jeopardy for these parents. They'll have been taxed, and at the same time they have to go into their pockets to get money to go and pay for teachers who will then teach these children. Again, these teachers who are being hired on BOM, we do not know whether they qualify to be teachers, because a board has sat and said this a child of this particular place fits to come and teach in that school, and yet the system of education says that for a teacher to be employed, they have to be a TSC employed. So one thing I support is that we need to relook at the TSC employment in this country, the teacher distribution, and I would wish to request the Committee on Education to actually provide to this House a list of all the teacher numbers in every school, student population in every school, because again, there is a policy on education that says that a teacher should be for every 40 learners. So if that is the case, in places where there is huge disparity, once the table is provided, then we can do fair distribution of these teachers. And number two, for those teachers who have not been employed and have and graduated in 2013, 2015, and all those years, they're about to retire before they get into employment. If that can also be considered, so that if there is any gap that needs to be filled, then those teachers who graduated much earlier be considered, so that they can be able to fill those gaps, and those schools that are in such places like my escarpment are able to get teachers, and the parents then don't have to go into their pockets. So I totally support the motion, the statement that has been brought by Honorable Bensouda, and we wish that the Committee on Education fast-tracks this process and be able to give us the data, because if you look at those data and those disparities, we'll find that this part of the Constitution, the Article 10, is actually being, is not being adhered to by the Ministry of Education and TSC more specifically, because when they hire teachers, they are not looking at those kind of disparities. And those disparities have gone to affect even human dignity and all the aspects, because these students will sit one major exam called KPSEA, they'll sit an exam called KCSE, and all those exams are uniform across the country. The school that has all TSC teachers vis-a-vis the school that has one TSC teacher, at the exam time, they will not be given a different exam saying, because you do not have this type of teachers, we do not get this type of education. And finally, when they get to employment, and when they get to the employment industry, you will find that these teachers who do not, these schools or students that do not have teachers get, they do not get opportunities to work, because they do not get proper education or good education compared to the schools that had good, or the good number of teachers. So it is something that we need to all comply with the Constitution and give every part of this country equal distribution in terms of employment for teachers, in terms of distribution for those teachers who have been employed, so that all schools are equal. And we comply with our Constitution to ensure that no teacher is employed under BOM but under the TSC, because we all pay taxes, and all these taxes need to go into payment of salaries of these teachers, as opposed to parents going into their pockets to support education. I thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Thank you very much. I allowed quite a big amount of time, because I know this is a very important matter that touches on every part of the country. But I think what has come out clearly is there's definitely need to have the minister come here to respond to those specific questions.